Good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon.
You're feeling strong and enthusiastic about this webinar?
Absolutely, I'm very enthusiastic, and I'm very looking forward to exchange with you guys on that topic.
Okay, how are things in Germany in terms of COVID-19?
Yeah, so we have a lockdown, a total lockdown since today. Yeah, so you're not allowed to open your shops either, or you are allowed to do so, but you have to have needs for daily supplies. So everything that is like furniture or something like that, that's all closed. Yeah, and so we are looking for the Christmas season, to use the time and so on. Yeah,
to refill the
battery
store again. Okay, all right. So we'll start. Boa tarde a todos, bem-vindos. Vamos tentar que estes próximos 45 minutos sejam mesmo 45 minutos, sejam úteis. Este é o segundo de uma série de webinars sobre Indústria 4.0 que vamos fazer mensalmente. Até esperamos nós terminar com uma missão à Alemanha para visitarmos melhores práticas lá para julho, se a situação pandémica permitir. Estes webinars resultam, como quem participou no primeiro sabe, de uma parceria entre a LBC e a empresa alemã associada à Universidade de Aachen, Industry 4.0 Maturity Center. Têm bastante experiência internacional em vários continentes e ao longo de vários anos, e a conjugação de ambas as competências pode ser aqui uma vantagem a trazer as melhores práticas para o mundo que fala português, Portugal e outros países. O tema de hoje é um tema muito interessante e muito pragmático, que tem a ver com a conjugação entre as operações atuais e aquelas que temos de desenvolver para os novos modelos da indústria 4.0. Vai ser apresentado mais pelo Félix, com uma introdução da Margarida. Agradeço mais uma vez a presença e a atenção de todos. Vou pedir só à Margarida que se apresente, and Felix also for a 30-second presentation after Margarida.
Obrigada, Carlos. Boa tarde a todos. Bem-vindos a este segundo webinar, esta série de webinars sobre o desenvolvimento da indústria 4.0. O meu nome é Margarida Gonçalves, sou partner da LBC e nos últimos anos tenho coordenado os projetos nesta área da indústria 4.0 aqui na LBC. Mais uma vez, bem-vindos.
Entre outras coisas, Margarida.
Felix,
a short presentation from you.
Yeah, thank you very much. So, my name is Felix Obdorstadt. Thank you very much for having me in this webinar today. And I'm a senior manager at the Industry 4.0 Maturity Center here in Aachen. And I'm supporting companies in defining their digital transformation strategy, roadmap, status quo. And what we also do, and what I'm very interested in, this also topic for today, is how innovation comes into that, and how can you use innovation in order to make your Industry 4.0 digital transformation happening.
Okay, so let's start. Margarida, vamos fazer um pequeno aquecimento para a apresentação do Félix?
Vamos sim.
Okay.
Eu até vou partilhar aqui a tela.
Estamos a ver?
Estão a ver? Muito bem. Então, hoje vou-vos falar um bocadinho aqui.
Já está.
Agora sim. O objetivo aqui é fazer realmente apenas um pequeno enquadramento ao tema deste webinar, contextualizando sempre no mercado português. Este é apenas um slide, um pequeno resumo daquilo que é a experiência da LBC na indústria 4.0. A LPC é uma empresa que já tem mais de 1000 projetos realizados em 14 mercados. Temos aqui vários exemplos de projetos realizados no âmbito da transformação digital e na indústria. No âmbito da indústria 4.0, os que se destacam mais é talvez a plataforma que desenvolvemos para a Cotec, plataforma de indústria 4.0 para a Cotec, e também o estudo de maturidade da indústria 4.0 que desenvolvemos com a ANEM, com o roadmap, e agora também uma fase 2 que estamos a desenvolver de apoio também às empresas do setor de como implementarem a sua estratégia de indústria 4.0. E feita esta apresentação sumária da nossa experiência, passaríamos para aquilo que já falámos também no primeiro webinar, mas que tem a ver com o impacto disruptivo que efetivamente a indústria 4.0 vem trazer às empresas e à indústria a nível global. E que não é só ao nível dos sistemas de produção, mas também em termos de modelos de negócio. Há um conjunto de novas tecnologias que vêm, como o nome indica, revolucionar, e por isso se chama a quarta revolução industrial, revolucionar de alguma forma a forma de atuar e de estar destas empresas, e portanto acaba por ser mesmo uma jornada de transformação que tem que ser verdadeiramente acautelada, e é um trabalho que, como vamos ver, é bastante transversal por toda a organização e que não pode ser trabalhada apenas por um departamento, por assim dizer, mas tem que ser sempre abraçada por toda a organização e com uma liderança bastante forte. No estudo que fizemos em colaboração com a ANEM, as empresas do setor, neste caso metalomecânico, permitiu-nos tirar várias conclusões. Uma delas é que, efetivamente, mesmo no âmbito da indústria 4.0, as empresas têm objetivos de curto e de longo prazo. E isto tem muito a ver também com a sessão de hoje, porque tanto estão preocupados com o aumento da eficiência dos seus sistemas de produção atuais, que é o seu core business atual, como também estão preocupados em criar novos produtos, em criar novos modelos de negócio e, portanto, a introduzir a inovação e não ficarem para trás em termos de competitividade. Portanto, existem aqui realmente estes dois mundos que é necessário conciliar, e eu espero que hoje o Félix também nos traga aqui alguns ensinamentos de como conseguir conciliar estes dois objetivos. Também ao nível das tecnologias que neste momento estão a implementar, são diversas, desde a mais conhecida, que tem a ver com a automatização, a robótica avançada, as questões da cibersegurança, onde verdadeiramente as empresas estão muito atentas, o Big Data, a logística avançada, mas também tecnologias mais disruptivas, como a realidade virtual, a aumentada, o IoT, e portanto também aqui nós vemos que, por um lado, existe aqui uma aposta na eficiência do processo produtivo, mas, por outro lado, existe uma preocupação em não ficar para trás em nada do que são as novas tecnologias que estão a aparecer e onde algumas ainda estão numa fase até embrionária. Mas não temos dúvidas que existem ainda dificuldades no processo de implementação. E por isso, quando perguntamos em que estado é que estão em termos, por exemplo, de modelação digital, que é também dos pressupostos base da indústria 4.0, vemos aqui que existe ainda uma grande percentagem de empresas onde não têm os seus processos modelados do ponto de vista digital, nem têm as tais chamadas redes inteligentes na sua cadeia de valor. Portanto, este é o desafio que vos trazemos hoje, como conciliar estes dois mundos. No fundo, o core business atual e este aumento de produtividade e melhoria contínua nos sistemas produtivos e, por outro lado, estar sempre a olhar para o que vem aí, as novas oportunidades, o futuro, os novos produtos e não ficar para trás no mundo cada vez mais competitivo e onde as inovações e as novas os novos produtos aparecem cada vez mais cedo no mercado e sem grande tempo de reação por parte das empresas.
Okay, obrigado. So, Felix, Margarida has just shown research that we've done on the Portuguese market that shows that the objectives of Portuguese companies are with implementing Industry 4.0 is very much focused on the short term, but also on the long term. And also that we need to implement technologies that are disruptive to current operations. So this has made it difficult for them to implement Industry 4.0, to implement digital transformation in manufacturing specifically. So over to you, because you're going to be speaking to an audience that would like to know how to really conciliate these two short-term and long-term aims.
Thank you very much for the introduction. Would be very interested to hear the study also in English, maybe in a one-on-one session with you, Margarita, later on. Sounds very interesting. So I will share now my screen. Just give me a second. I'm
okay.
Now
take your volume so that we hear you well in terms of your voice. Mm-hmm.
Can you see actually?
Yes.
Do you see the Industry 4.0 Maturity Center logo? So we shape tomorrow's data-driven enterprises, or what do you see?
Yeah, we're seeing your second slide.
Okay, perfect. So that's great. Just a short introduction, maybe also to our company, the Industry 4.0 Maturity Center. So we are actually a spin-off from the RWTH Aachen, so a consultancy spin-off, and we were founded around a research project which developed an Industry 4.0 Maturity Index, so an assessment and road mapping approach in order to help companies systematically go towards Industry 4.0. This is something that we presented in our last webinar, in our last webcast. As a prelude there. What we also do is we not only help companies to assess their digital status quo and derive roadmaps, but we also help them to define their strategies, and we also help them to organize their digital transformation journey. And what I will present to you also today is to go a little bit deeper into the things that you have to consider when you're looking at more innovative technologies and maybe also new business models. You should now see my slide of the RWTH Aachen ecosystem. So
yes.
Perfect. So the Industry 4.0 Maturity Center is actually part of the RWTH Aachen ecosystem. And this is actually an ecosystem consisting of different institutes here in Aachen, but also companies that want to leverage the innovation going on here and try to collaborate with the institutes and also derive spin-offs out of that. Yeah, so we are actually, as I said, also a spin-off from the RWTH Aachen. So we are actually a child of this RWTH Aachen campus idea. And as you can see, we have different companies here active. So, but almost all are producing, so manufacturing companies. And this is also that we, I would say, very much focus on, which our knowledge and expertise is on these manufacturing companies. And this is also something that I will share during my presentation now a little bit more to you. So what will you know after the session? At the end, these are two things, I would say. So the first thing is I will give you a little bit of insight on the reason why it's so hard for many established and large companies to be innovative? Yeah. And the second thing is how you can apply a management concept, which is, I would say, very much misrecognized or misunderstood. And how can you apply this in order to overcome these challenges, these reasons why so many established companies have problems with innovating? So, why are companies, I would say, struggling with digital technologies and digital business models? Yeah, and at the end, I would say the answer would be very much surprising, because I would say the problem of the companies here is, and what they are handicapped by, is actually that their success in the past. So let me maybe explain that a little bit deeper. So I'm not quite sure, but do you know this man? So this man is actually Steve Sasson, and he is, I would say, recognized as the inventor of one of the most influential technologies that we have in the last decade. Yeah, and this invention actually turned upside down an industry, the photographic industry, with a groundbreaking technology change. And this is actually digital photography. So Steve Sasson is the inventor of the digital camera. Yeah, in the 1970s, he worked for Kodak Eastman, and he developed this digital camera. You can see it here, one of the prototypes, one of the first prototypes. And actually, as maybe some of you know, Kodak really swept this innovation under the carpet. So they didn't recognize it as this new business model that they could leverage, but they said, okay, this is something that could threaten our existing business model, as we want to sell films and want to sell the analog cameras. And from today's perspective, this is, I would say, absolutely one of the most fatal mistakes in recent business history, because as you know, the digital cameras, they are all over the place. That's a standard technology today. And Kodak actually went bankrupt in 2012. And in business, but also in science, the Kodak moment, as you could call it, is the synonym for failure, of successful companies to really miss out such a disruptive trend like this with the digital camera. And the question is actually, so why does such a successful company, like for example also Kodak was very successful, fail at the end of the day? And I would say after all, because after all they have their financial strength there, they have the money to do these inventions, they have loyal customers, they have this brand name like Kodak, and they all have these intelligent minds like Steve Sasson here. But what these companies actually do, can be summarized under the term of exploitation, of a business segment. So they are trying to increase the performance of their existing products, their existing processes for production and distribution. And they really try to exploit all what they have currently, and they are very, very good at that. But they are not good at really, they fail at the end at really identifying new groundbreaking technologies, that could turn their industry upside down. So they're really focused on making it more efficient, making it more better what they already have, but they are, that way they are looking, they left the trend outside the box. And what you could say now, okay, so companies or manufacturing companies maybe should now, they should not only exploit, but they really should now focus more on, or exclusively maybe on, developing new business areas, developing new business ideas, and building startups and building startups and building startups. So you could say they should do more exploration. And I would say startups, for example, or new digital ventures of a company are the embodiment of exploration when we look at that. But when we look at these explorative ventures, actually, you could see that that they also have problems, that they also have a high rate of failure, actually. And this is why, because they have a lack of domain knowledge usually. So they develop something, that they think is required in the market, but they are not quite sure in their prototyping, their testing. Yeah? They also sometimes don't have the right customers. Yeah? So no supportive pilot customers for their idea. Yeah? And also they have the wrong planning, yeah, financial planning or time planning. And when we look at these reasons for failure in the startup world, so the exploration of new businesses and technologies, we see that everything they fail in, the established companies are actually very good in. Yeah, so an established company knows how to plan. Yeah, they have a huge planning department. They know. They have a lot of customers usually. Yeah, they have very deep understanding of the market. They have very deep knowledge about the market, yeah, and the needs of the market, yeah. But at the end, they go again too far. Yeah, they focus too much on one domain, and by that they miss trends. Yeah, and so at the end, I would say the problem is, or the issue is, you can't do just the one thing. So really exploit only your current business model. And on the other hand, you not only can explore new things, yeah, because then you don't have the domain knowledge, you don't have the customer base, and it's very, very risky. And at the end, what comes in this concept here, or in the game here, is what is called ambidexterity. Yeah, sounds a little bit strange. But it's a management concept which actually is there since a long time, so since the 90s actually. And what it does, it really tries to combine the best of both worlds. So ambidexterity really wants to leverage the exploitation, yeah, leverage the knowledge, the financial strength, and the customer base of the core business, and combine it with the explanation of new businesses, of new technologies, of the integration of new technologies within my production. And in the recent years, actually, this term ambidexterity has really, I would say, has gotten an increased attention, especially in Germany. And it's from my perspective, I would say this is a very necessary capability for companies in the future in order to really leverage new technologies, leverage new business. And let me explain why this is very important. Because you might say, okay, in the past, companies still were able, yeah, to survive, for example, to do a step-by-step approach, yeah, saying, okay, when the market changes, we change, we bring in new products, we bring in new services, and so on, and we just develop further in a stepwise approach, or develop further also in our internal processes and so on. And this was very feasible. Companies really could do so. But today I would say it's very different, yeah, because today we really need this simultaneous exploitation and simultaneous exploration in the digital age. And the reason is actually, an example here I brought to you on this slide here. The reason is digital technologies have really changed the speed, yeah, in the market and in the business. So digital technologies actually penetrate the market at a very much higher speed and have much shorter innovation cycles, yeah, which leads to changes, yeah, and also groundbreaking changes in the environment in a very short time, yeah. And so, for example, in the past, new products, new changes in physical processes, they could be, yeah, that could be adapted very easily. But because it takes time to develop them, it takes time to market them, it takes time to distribute these physical objects. But when we look at the software, the data-based technologies, yeah, products and processes, yeah, we can distribute them very much easier over the internet to different customers, to different plants, to different markets. And also we can validate them very much easier. And we can also add new features. Yeah, when you want to add a new feature in a machine, yeah, it takes a long time. You have to send a technician there. If you want to change a feature in a dashboard, for example, it's very easy to update this. Yeah, and in this environment of very short innovation cycles, it's very important to have this parallelism of exploration, exploitation. And the speed you can see actually in the for example, here in market penetration, yeah, of some technologies about to use. So when we look at the penetration of a technology in the US market, for example, the car, yeah, the car actually, it took the car actually to come to a penetration of 81% of the US households. It took the car to 57 years, so a very long time, yeah, 57 years. When we look at social media like LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook, 80% of market penetration of the US households were done in 12 years. Yeah, so this is very much shorter time. Yeah, and this is why in a digital age for companies, it's very important to have this simultaneous approach in order to use what they already have and also explore and exploit new things, yeah, and new technologies and new businesses. And actually, some companies actually already acknowledge this. Yeah, so an example is Airbus Digital Ventures. They have, this is an explanatory unit within the Airbus organization, and Airbus Digital Ventures actually systematically develops, yeah, and markets digital business models and new technologies for their customers and for their fleet. Yeah. And they do so very much aligned with the core organization, yeah, because they want to leverage their market strength, yeah, they want to leverage their brand, their customer loyalty, their finances, and their domain knowledge, yeah. And actually the combination of these two modes, so this Airbus Digital Ventures and this Airbus, is very successful, I would say. Yeah? So the approach is that Airbus Digital Ventures really searches for new ideas within the Airbus organization, yeah, and really try to find new ideas and also find new ideas within the market. They try to breed them, yeah, try to find the right stakeholders within the organization and try to build first prototypes, and then they bring it actually into the Airbus organization. So what they don't do is they do not hold the ownership to the Airbus Digital Ventures when it's market, because then it's still an organization on itself. They really want to bring it into the Airbus organization. So when they market a new idea, when they market a new technology, they actually bring it to the Airbus core organization, yeah, so that they can really take the ownership of the new technology or the new business and market. An example of that is the cloud-based platform for aerial images, which Airbus has launched. So they built a digital platform where all the satellite images, the drone images Airbus has, but also external people have, they can be shared on this platform for money, and they can be used by other companies like farmers, like construction companies, like municipalities. They can use all these aerial shots, yeah, for their business. They buy them and then they can see the situation in the specific situation that they are in. Yeah, so this is a very concrete idea that really Airbus could only do by using and leveraging the existing assets of the Airbus organization, yeah, like the aerial pictures. And they did so by really using the startup-like feeling and the startup-like mindset of this digital Airbus Ventures. Yeah? And this is really where the both worlds really connect. One thing that I also want to share with you is, I think what is clear that these combination of both worlds, yeah, is not something that you could achieve very easily, yeah, and you push a button and then it's done, yeah. It's really something that is also like digital transformation is the journey that your company has go through, yeah. And what I want to share with you now is some aspects, yeah, that these companies have to take into mind and have to consider when they want to leverage this ambidexterity, yeah. And at the end, it's really about looking at your strategy. It's about looking at your organization, processes, and hierarchy. It's about IT system. It's about the resources, and of course, it's also about the culture of the company. Yeah, and looking more first on the organizational or on the strategy part here. That's something that I brought in here. So the company's strategy is, of course, a key activity that the company has. Yeah, so it defines and controls the necessary shifts. Yeah, in the technology, in the competition, customers, and the regulation, and to really gain a competitive advantage with ambidexterity here, the company really must be able to leverage and reconfigure the existing competencies and assets of a core business. So, as I said, for example, in the Airbus example with the Airbus Digital Ventures, it's the satellite images, for example, from Airbus. Yeah, so really, they really have to be embedded in this process. But at the end, it's something that you cannot do just based from the bottom up. So it's really necessary that you are supported by your strategy and also by the leadership team of the company. Yeah. So there are, I would say, at the end, you really need this common vision and this common value, and also need the commitment from the senior team that you really can leverage these assets and can leverage the resources that the company already has. Yeah, and for example, again at the Airbus example, if you don't have the access to the leadership team, if you don't have the access to the resources like the satellite images, you're not able to do these to build this platform. Yeah. The second thing, or the third thing, sorry, is actually what you also have to have is you really have to have a separate of these organizations. Yeah. So as I showed you, or as I explained it to you by the Airbus example, you need to have a unit that is really focused on this exploration. And you also have to have, of course, the core organization, which is exploitative. Yeah. So at the end, what cannot be done, or what we have seen, is that many companies try to do this within the existing organization, but the mindset of the people, the way how they work, the way how their incentives and how the target systems of the people are, it's not as that they can really be this innovative. So to give it a first start, yeah, like in the Airbus example, to give it a first start, you need something like a separate organizational architecture, yeah, where like a digital unit where you can really try out the first new things, and then also leverage, of course, due to this commitment from the leadership team, leverage the assets. But at the end, you have to have the safe space, yeah. And then you can, of course, bring it back into the core organization when it works. But first, you have to really use a separate organization in order to bring this in. And at the end, which is also very important from the cultural perspective, you have to have a senior leadership team that has to have the ability really to also tolerate, but also resolve tensions. Yeah. At the end, when it's about resources, when it's about new business models, then always conflict comes into hand, also confusion. And this is something that you really, that the leadership really wants to do. Yeah. So you really have to have this commitment from the leadership team to be simultaneously explorative and to simultaneously, of course, exploit your existing core organization, core business. So when we talk about these resource sharing, also domain knowledge sharing between the core organization and the explorative unit, this really at the end requires a communication and a knowledge exchange between both. Yeah, again, between Airbus Digital Ventures, they have to know what Airbus, what the customer needs, yeah, but also what Airbus can leverage. And at the end, also Airbus wants to understand what Airbus Digital Ventures is bringing to them as a value, yeah. And so we really have to have this communication channel between both. And this is actually something that is, I would say, very important to understand is, oh, sorry, I'm just skipping here. So at the end, what is very important to understand is that I would say the innovative freedom of such an exploration, yeah, at the end is limited to the environment where at the end insights, but also business opportunities for the core business make sense. Yeah, so it's not something that you can do you can do whatever you want in such an explorative unit. At the end, you have to contribute something out of value, and also to get the commitment from the leadership team to create something out of value for the company. On the other hand, the core business really has to be brought to to a higher level, of knowledge. Yeah, so they are not there just to accept everything what the explorative unit is creating, but they really have to get onto the same level in that, and also this requires training. And at the end, when we have this connection between the explorative unit and the core organization, you can really learn from each other. Yeah, you can learn from the new ideas, the innovations from the explorative unit, but you can also, as an explorative unit, you can learn from the core organization. And this can be market conditions, that can be also customer requirements, and so on. Some things that help here is what we have seen is that, for example, you can introduce Slack resources, meaning that you have one central contact person in the business unit of the core organization, that implements projects with the digital unit, and then transfer the results into the solutions really into the core organization. And what you can also do is create routines, like a controlled handover of new products, or a joint development, like Airbus is doing it. So they really, when they are finished with idea creation with the first prototypes, when the product is ready to market, they bring it into the core organization. So they have this cross-departmental routine, and they not keep it for themselves as the explorative unit, they bring it to the core organization. And what also helps, and this is something that, for example, DMG Mori is doing. So they have an explorative unit which is called Werkblick, which is an application, an app, a platform for maintenance management. And this is a standalone unit. So they are creating new digital business models, which DMG Mori, of course, can take value out of. But they are separate, and in order to really try these connections, they have, first of all, they have one contact person, which is really right under the C-level, who is responsible with the communication with Werkblick and try to get the insights out of this explorative unit. And on the other hand, they also have a fair, so they have a DMG Mori in-house exhibition fair where they exchange each other. So there's a possibility for everyone from DMG Mori to really interact with this explorative unit, and also the explorative unit can interact with the core organization there. So this is something that is a routine that really helps to have this knowledge exchange as well. Another example is Wöst Alpine, which is a steel manufacturer from Austria. They have a training program for digital ambassadors. In that way, they try to bring the people in the core organization on the same level as the digital natives, as you could call them, or digital business model guys from the explorative unit, in order to really train the people so that they have a common understanding. And of course, in the digital age, what you also have to have is, at the end, you have to look at the IT infrastructure and the IT systems that you have. So the innovation is really driven by aggregating, learning, and leveraging data, and also integrating different IT systems. And as you can imagine, a core organization already has a lot of legacy IT systems. And the new explorative unit maybe wants to use their own IT systems. For example, like an IoT platform. And so we really have to think about how can we really bring these different perspectives on the IT landscape together, and how can we also leverage the existing data that, for example, the core organization has. Again, the example from Airbus with the aerial footage. And this is what we, when we talk about IT infrastructure, we usually have this layer image here. And what the idea is mainly is that we really say, okay, at the end, it's not about having one IT system. It's really about using what is there, and maybe also when you add new IT systems, bring everything together. Yeah, like harmonizing the data in one layer in order to have a good understanding of a good insight on the data and use it really and leverage the data. For example, in a predictive maintenance case, so you can imagine we have an explorative unit which wants to provide predictive maintenance to the customers of the core organization. And the core organization already has remote monitoring, yeah, and they can already see some insights from the machines, see how the machines are working. And the explorative unit wants to go one step further and really wants to predict failures. And at the end, they cannot only do it with their own data, yeah, like the status of the machine or the pressures or the speeds of the machine, for example. They really have to use the existing data which is already within the organization, yeah, like the product data, which is from the development department of the core organization, also simulation data, but also production data. Yeah, and at the end, it's not about really creating silos of IT systems, siloed IT systems. It's really about bringing all the IT systems together, leverage what the explorative unit has, but also leverage what the core organization has in order to really create new business models. Yeah, so also from an IT perspective, not only from a knowledge perspective or business perspective, also from an IT perspective, this is very important in order to leverage the existing assets. So just to summarize the session, at the end, when we look at ambidexterity, what does it mean? At the end, it's the ability of a company to really conduct exploration. So defining new business models, leveraging new technology, and also exploitation, yeah, meaning use what the core organization has and make it more efficient. And this combination of both really leads to a long-term success. And especially when we look at digital technologies, when we look at the digital age, and because digital technologies penetrate in really high speed in the market, this ambidexterity management concept really is something that is absolutely necessary in the future, because the market is changing very rapidly. So you really have to have a very good core business, very effective core business, of course, but you also have to look at new trends, look at new customers, look at new markets, and so on. And at the end, it's really about combining the best of both worlds from the core organization, but also from the explorative unit, not only when we talk about communication, organization, and resources like finances or data, but also in regards to IT systems. Yeah, really bring everything here together and connect everything and harmonize it.
Wow.
Thank you very much.
Yes, Felix, very good. Nuno, could you put on the PowerPoint? Okay, we are close to we are now on top of the 45 minutes. We've overcome 1 minute. So I will go, there are a few questions here. I'll go on to Portuguese, Felix. We do a lot of work in innovation, and we see that some of the problem that the companies have is not that they are not innovators, is that the innovation is killed inside the company because they are not ambidextrous, especially in terms of culture, in terms of organization. So a lot of times what we do, we put new organizational cultures where they, far from the core, innovation is a little bit aside so that it can flourish. And sometimes organizations cannot do it. They have to do open innovation with startups and with the ecosystem, because themselves, they really are very slow and not so agile. I'll switch on to Portuguese now. Eu queria, há aqui algumas perguntas que estavam para o Felix, mas uma vez que a apresentação dele foi muito completa e bastante interessante, nós vamos deixar isto para quem quiser fazer perguntas por mail. Nos nossos contactos nós depois respondemos, ou podem enviar diretamente ao Felix. Eu queria dar-vos aqui 2 ideias para terminar em português. O primeiro é não perder o timing da transformação. de facto, não há um momento onde se faz um evento e a empresa, a organização fica com esta capacidade de integrar não só as operações atuais, como tudo aquilo que é uma disrupção às próprias operações. E para isso é preciso alinhar a estratégia competitiva, a cultura, a estrutura organizacional, os horizontes de investimento, um conjunto de coisas e é aí onde nós muitas vezes sentimos que as empresas precisam de apoio. Não é tanto em fazer jogos de inovação, em estimular a inovação, em haver aquelas, às vezes é um bocadinho brincadeira e turismo de inovação, e é preciso aqui criar uma estrutura que de facto suporte isso. E isso é uma jornada, como disse o Félix, e ele salientou aí várias coisas, e uma coisa que eu não saliento nesse slide, e que ele salientou é os legacy systems, os sistemas tecnológicos legados, que muitas vezes não permitem esta ambidexteridade. Próximo slide, Nuno. Outra coisa que eu queria salientar é que, no contexto da evolução rápida, nós tínhamos de conjugar aquilo que apresentou o Félix, que é, por um lado, sermos exploradores e, por outro lado, sermos otimizadores. As empresas grandes, como era o modelo antigo, há 30 anos atrás, da Kodak, era um otimizador. E mesmo a tecnologia inovadora que eles desenvolvia ficava desaproveitada, era aproveitada pela concorrência. Aqui um salto nos slides, muito bem. E depois havia os startups do outro lado, e aqui é preciso ter uma integração para ser ambidextro. No entanto, no novo ambiente, que é mais volátil, chamado VUCA, volátil, incerto, complexo, ambíguo, não basta ser ambidextro, é preciso também ser ágil. E enquanto que a ambidextria permite-nos ter a capacidade de desenvolver novos modelos de negócio em paralelo com os existentes, através de modelos organizacionais que o permitem, através de incentivos, uma série de coisas, e há vários modelos com as caixas organizadas de várias formas, a empresa também precisa de ser ágil. Isto quer dizer que tem que ter uma capacidade para gerir a incerteza e a ambiguidade e tem que ter uma capacidade de adaptação muito rápida do seu core business às mudanças. O Félix referiu a Airbus várias vezes. Com este ambiente Covid, a Airbus está a ser muito desafiada, todo o desafio todo o setor da aviação. Eles vão ter a agilidade para reagir rapidamente. Não basta ser ambidextro, é preciso ter agilidade e para isso é preciso introduzir o design thinking, para além daquele alinhamento, porque as empresas são dominadas por management thinking, engineering thinking, e têm muita resistência a introduzir o design thinking. É preciso também introduzir metodologias agile, na forma de trabalhar na organização, não só mexer as caixinhas, mas trabalhar muito por projeto e de uma forma agile, e uma liderança totalmente diferente. Se quiserem depois mais informação sobre alguns destes modelos, nós podemos, aqueles que estiverem interessados, apresentar. E vou terminar só pedindo para ir para o próximo slide. Ok. Ia-vos recomendar que se inscrevam no próximo webinar, porque vai ser muito interessante. Vamos ter mais um debate do que um webinar. Um debate sobre quem é que vai ganhar a corrida da indústria 4.0. Vai ser a Europa, com a sua força de engenharia, vai ser os Estados Unidos, com a sua força digital, vai ser a China, com a sua capacidade de produção, a grande fábrica mundial. Nós vamos ter uma pessoa da China, uma pessoa dos Estados Unidos, uma pessoa da Europa, e se calhar também aqui alguém da Europa será da Alemanha, alguém aqui de Portugal para animar este debate. E vamos introduzir também um elemento interessante, que é as previsões de recuperação da indústria em 2021, com a vacina, com a recuperação das economias, vamos também introduzir esse elemento. Não vamos fazer perguntas, tínhamos aqui algumas perguntas já sobre dados, que mostram isto que o Félix tem apresentou, também algumas sugestões e algum aconselhamento um bocadinho mais detalhado, mas uma vez que já ultrapassámos a hora, agradecemos a todos os que participaram e convidamos-vos a registarem-se desde já no próximo webinar, que é dia 28 de janeiro, mas resistem-se já. Nós vamos tentar, houve aqui algumas observações sobre tradução simultânea e nós vamos trabalhar nisso. Vamos pôr aqui uma tradução simultânea, porque depois o webinar 4 e 5 e o 6 serão totalmente em português, mas o próximo será ainda com participantes ingleses e, portanto, vamos mudar. Agradeço o vosso tempo, a vossa atenção.
Carlos,
Diz?
Só para complementar, iremos também disponibilizar a todos os participantes um white paper sobre este tema, onde terá também algumas informações complementares sobre este tema.
Mais detalhadas. Obrigado, Margarida, por participar. Thank you, Felix. We're not going to do the questions because the time has run fast, such an interesting topic. But we've added some elements in Portuguese also. And thank you very much for your excellent intervention. You know, coming from you, with all your experience, international experience, has got an added value for certain. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. It was a pleasure.
Ok. Bye, everybody. Adeus a todos. Um grande abraço. E Feliz Natal também. Boas entradas.
Boa tarde a todos. Obrigada.